Aren't you proud of me, Gail? All right, so with that, I'm not sure if you know that this is the after show for Let's Talk Tech. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do my intro, and we're going to jump in because I know you guys are all super busy, as is our fabulous guest. So welcome everyone to the after show for Let's Talk Tech. Let's Talk Tech is the podcast for entrepreneurs who are confused, frustrated, and overwhelmed by the software, systems, services, and apps that we all need to run and grow a profitable business today. Today's after show is a literal perfect match. It doesn't always work out scheduling wise, but today is a perfect match for Tuesdays and Mondays episodes, because this was really a special week. I took Tuesday's episode and split it into a two-parter. So today's after show is with the lovely and talented Carol Clark, who is just an absolutely fantastic person in so many ways. So Carol, let's just say hi and do an audio check.
Hi everybody. Winnie, thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for being here. So let me tell you a little bit about Carol and why she was on Let's Talk Tech. It is, first of all, her episodes are the kind of thing that I had really envisioned when I launched the show. I wanted to have one style of episode where I interviewed an entrepreneur who was successfully using a particular tech tool. So in the past, we've had Gail Turner Brown talking about Blab. We've had John Cody talking about live streaming in general. He uses Periscope and Meerkat quite a bit. And now we've got the fabulous Carol, who is sharing with us her secrets for running and managing and monetizing membership programs in her husband's medical weight loss practice, as well as in her own consulting practice. So she actually has two of these membership programs, and she's going to fill us in. So Carol is a former hospital administrator, and she really works with her husband now in his weight loss practice. He is a nationally known bariatric surgeon in Virginia. And Carol helps him run the practice. She is responsible for the marketing, among other many duties that she has in that business. And things have been going so well for the practice and for her that she now has a consulting practice where she works with other experts as well as medical practices to help them grow. She has written multiple best-selling books and does consulting around helping others get their best-selling book launched, and a ton of other stuff. Carol, what else do you want to share with the group that you do?
Well, that's pretty much it. Keeps me busy, and between that and the 4 kids, and trying to work hard and play hard, it keeps me really busy.
Yeah. So there's a big shocker right there. As if Carol's not busy enough, she actually does have a home life. She and her husband do have family in addition to this practice with employees. 4 kids. That's incredible. That's really hard to believe. And something fun about Carol, she's twin. She's got a twin sister. So I always think that's fun.
Yeah, they have older twin sisters, and my dad's a twin, so we have a lot of them.
Oh, get out of here. Yeah, and I've got twins on both sides of my family, so thank goodness I didn't reproduce, because I just know I was supposed to be the twin generation. Right. No thanks. That was just more than, just the terror alone was, struck fear in my heart. So we're going to jump right in, as I said. And if you haven't caught Carol's 2 episodes, you definitely want to get over to the letstalktechshow.com so you can listen to both of them. They're outstanding. I've already listened to them both like 3 times, taking copious notes. And I'm already thinking about, how I can start my own membership program. So one of the things that I want to do is go over a couple of things for people who haven't had a chance to listen to the episode, and then we're going to dive deeper into a few issues. So let's just quickly talk about what membership programs are. Maybe you can give a couple of outside of your business kind of examples, and then how you use them in your practice, in your businesses.
Sure. Well, everyone on the call, I'm sure, knows a membership site basically is just a private website where people pay to have access to your unique and exclusive content. And so people pay to gain access to that, and also to gain access to a private community. So probably any entrepreneur belongs to a few membership sites and then really can make it an easy extension of their own practice to add residual income and also increase their reach and gain more clients.
Yeah.
So
and yeah, so they are really a way to take people deeper into content, provide more support, and of course then it develops the magic thing that we're all dreaming of, right? Recurring revenue.
Right. But the thing about membership sites is, I mean, you can do it a few different ways, obviously. You can create a membership site that basically just drips out to people, or you can create one that actually has a lot of interaction, which is the ones that primarily we have, where you're always interacting with the people in your membership site for the most part. So, I mean, we do it both ways. Some of our programs are just dripped out, and other ones are integrated and always having a lot of communication back and forth.
Okay, and by dripped out, of course, you mean that they're delivered either via email or the person gets a notification that, hey, go over to this course site because there's a new episode or segment available. Is that right?
Right. For example, we have an online program called My Weight Loss Academy. And so people will sign up for that. And it's basically one that sends them information. There's a 21-day challenge, and people will get information sent to them on a regular basis. And the physician does live webinars every week. So in addition to gaining access to modules, PDFs, and a lot of things that they need, they gain access live via a webinar that then becomes a part of the membership site that they can view in case they missed it. But they get emails about the content that's being delivered, and then also about all the live webinars every week. And so they can watch them, and then they'll be added to the membership site so they can view them at another time. So they'll get emails periodically about that. And there's sort of a balance between sending enough emails to keep them engaged and sending too many emails that they're annoying. So kind of work through that little bit of a balance. And then for us, depending on the type of program, some of the programs we may have people who aren't used to membership sites, and so we'll actually walk them through, making sure that there's a tutorial and a way to guide them through how to make the most of the membership site. Because you don't want people getting into a membership site and then getting frustrated. And that's a lot has to do with how you set it up. So it's not an overwhelming site. It's something that makes sense to them and is intuitive, so to speak.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought to mention, is that when you create this site, I'd be interested in hearing your opinion on this. You create the site, and it's a learning tool, so it is educationally based, and you're sharing this information. Do you take into consideration different learning modalities? Do you try to provide information that engages all the senses and that has people writing and thinking and that kind of thing?
Right. In every one of our membership sites, we have people learn like very differently, as you know. Some people like to learn didactically, some learn it by hearing, visually. So in all of our membership sites, we reinforce the information. We always have a video which explains the information. We have a PDF that you can download and follow along with as you're watching the video. And then we also generally provide a podcast so that if they are driving or just want to have access to that when they're walking or when they're out doing their workout or whatever, they can also access it that way. So we do actually layer it that way. And then for our surgical program, for the first year after surgery, they not only get it in the membership site, but we also actually take the time and we mail them a full colored module that talks to them about what to expect this month, what to expect next month, recipes, success stories, all that sort of thing. So they're getting it online, and then you're also reinforcing it. We want to make sure they make those changes so that they can lose their weight forever. So that first year is really critical. So we're also mailing them information, which may think, oh, that's so old-fashioned, or it's too expensive. But we've actually worked out ways to, things can be done very, cost affordably nowadays. And it puts you also in front of them, not only from an educational standpoint, but also for a marketing perspective, because they see you all the time, and we can remind them about our referral programs and that sort of thing, which then just kind of builds that relationship and also causes referrals, so you can build your business a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting issue to consider. First of all, is hitting all of the learning modalities, or as many as possible. But I think that sending something in the mail is actually incredibly differentiating. Remember the days we used to go to our mailbox and we would be overwhelmed by the amount of mail we would get? Right. I always loved Christmas because you would get all these fabulous junk mail catalogs, right? Yeah. You'd look through them. It was always so much fun. We don't get any mail anymore.
Right.
So mail is actually a way to clearly stand out if you have the budget. And yes, it doesn't necessarily have to be a really pricey kind of thing.
Right. And the other thing you can do for one of them, for like your bestseller book, for that one, when we have people sign up for our 6-month mastermind where we produce the course through our membership site, we actually send them a welcome package. So for them, we just do one mailing. It's at the very beginning. It's a copy of your bestseller book. It's their journal. It's a number of different things to help get them all excited about being a part of the program. So it's another way to engage them and also, kind of go that extra mile to show them how much you care about their success. So for some, we'll just send stuff at the beginning. For some, we send it throughout the program. And for others, we don't send it at all because the price point for that program can't support it.
Yeah. And, one of the issues that we needed to think about, all of us, is in obviously creating something that is going to be supportive for the client and profitable for us. So I think one of the things that's so awesome about creating a membership program is all these different opportunities for touch. Because we know learning doesn't happen in the classroom. It doesn't happen in that one-time experience. It happens where the rubber meets the road, when people are actually trying to implement what you're talking about. And that we're talking about changed behavior, especially in weight loss. And that requires a lot of reinforcement and support over time, right?
Exactly. And especially if you want improved outcomes or them attaining their goal and not requesting a refund or opting out or that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's very easy for all of us as humans to blame someone outside of ourselves or something outside of ourselves for not having when we don't have the results that we wanted. So I think that we as professionals who are really looking to change somebody's life and change somebody's outcomes, whether it's in their business, their personal life, we need to investigate opportunities that are going to really allow us to do that. And I think we're talking about multiple touches over an extended period of time. And a membership site, I think, a membership program is really a great way to do it. The more I keep thinking about it since we did our episode. So can you talk a little bit about pricing? I know that there's one program that I think, or maybe it's both of your weight loss programs, that are included in the price that they pay for their weight loss package. Is that right?
Right. We kind of, and I did this after the fact, but we talk a lot in marketing about our funnel, but we'll start out, our lowest price membership program is $4.99 a month, $4.99 a month. And that's basically access to the physician for a program called Losing Weight USA. And so you get access to the physician and you get educational content every week live, or you can just view it in your membership site. So and then we give bonuses along with that, journaling, a lot of different sources, recipe books, all sorts of things. But that's our minimum one. And then we also have programs called Weight Management University for non-surgical weight loss and Weight Management University for weight loss surgery, which is for surgical weight loss. And both those we include in the cost of the program. So the program is basically, for a 6-month medical program, is just under $1,000, but that includes visits here on site, body composition, a 6-month membership to our fitness center, the program online, some products going along with it, a jump start to get you going initially for some immediate results. And then the surgical one is actually a full year, and that one is actually just over $600, but that includes a full year to our fitness center, all the education materials. And we draw people from other states, and so it's really nice because we can actually communicate with them and share everything with them, no matter where they live. So that's been really helpful, and that includes classes on site, and most everything we do on site, even fitness. We have fitness videos in there that they can follow, so they can almost get everything online that they can get on site here. So we include it in those programs as a part of the program. We just roll that cost into it.
Okay. So when you were actually putting this together, did you go so far as to break down all the, I know you're such a numbers girl. Were you able to break down all the costs per person and then somehow factor that in and then this is what, the devil's in the details. This is what always gets me. How do you figure out the true cost and value of that course?
Right. You have to, and we did that. We broke down every single thing, where every product that we were giving them, every counseling session, what was that worth for the counselor? Because that's really the most expensive part of it, is having licensed professionals doing the counseling, and then the program. And then you're trying to balance that, every cost related to it, also with what can your current market, what will they tolerate? Because we're in sort of a conservative area here in Virginia, so we don't have a much more conservative market who might not pay the same thing that you would out in just in California, or some of the other areas where the cost of living things are a little bit higher. So we had to try to balance those, and it really was a matter of kind of had to tweak it as we went along. We started out our surgical program being almost twice what it is today, but as competition increases and that sort of thing, we still want to differentiate ourselves, but we need to make sure we're competitive too. So we lowered that. So we took into account the cost of everything that went into it. We took into account what the market can bear. We took into account what your competition is doing, what sort of programs that they have, and what they include, and what they're including in their pricing, and then kind of balancing them all. And then we kind of go through a little bit of a test phase. And part of the key is sales, is how are you going to sell it? How do you prove value for what it is that you're providing? So we do that to a certain degree with our ads, and with I have, all my staff here are trained to do sales. But probably the best thing is you get some people through your program. We have a bunch of testimonials, and we have testimonials that we record almost every week, and you put those out there, and then that's what really makes things start to escalate in terms of sales and your reach. Is once you get those testimonials, and people can see that lives are transformed, and then that increases the whole traffic to your program. Because 40% of our referrals come from our patients, so we love that, so that's a way to help it grow.
Yeah, to me, that's almost like, that's the ultimate testimonial, is the fact that such a large percentage of your referrals come directly from your customers. There's no better endorsement than that, really.
Right. And you're never really done. You think you're done, like I've developed this membership program and everything's totally great, but you're never really done if you're interacting and talking with your clients, and you're figuring out what's the latest topic they want information on, what's our latest podcast going to be, what's our latest. When you do this every week, you're listening to people, and what is it that they're having difficulty with. And so for us, it's the same thing. Is it whatever their confusion is? Is it how much water? Is it what's the whole deal about gluten, my insulin, we go through all those things. So it's the questions we hear every day. The counselors will keep a little running tally, like, Dr. Clark, I want you to talk on this next. These are the questions. So we just kind of keep it moving. Always try to
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
so that's interesting. So while you are differentiated by having this unique program as part of your total weight loss program, then you do have to stay sensitive to what the market will bear, but also what's going on in your industry segment. So how do you stay on top of what your competitors are doing?
We do our own research. We always are out looking at what the staff, I have them actually doing that as well. And then I'll keep an eye out, and you'll hear from your patients. They'll come in and say, oh, and there's certain things you want to be higher. I mean, we offer more. So when people come back and say, well, it doesn't cost that much over there, it's like, well, that's because they don't have a program, period. They just do this little piece of it. So it's about sales a little bit, but then it's also keep an eye out there, listening to watching what's going on, and then also listening to your current client. But I think there's something to be said about you don't have to be the least expensive person in the area. In fact, oftentimes you don't want to be, because then people just expect everything for free. And if you're really proving value and you're really helping them, then you want to keep the program going, and you're not going to do that by always being the least expensive out there.
Yeah, I follow one of the first gurus that I started to follow when I first started to investigate being out on my own and selling my services and that sort of thing. And he would do the monthly free teleseminar, and then he would end up selling the recording. And he was building the list, and finally he decided, you know what, I'm going to cut out doing these free things, and I'm just going to do a low price. I think he lowered it he sold it for like $30 originally, but then he decided he would lower it and wouldn't do a free offering. He had tens of thousands of people on an email list. He said when he did this first one for like $19 or something, and he always gives fantastic content and information. $19, he got hate mail, he said. He had thousands of people unsubscribe from his list. Now, he probably had like 50,000 people on there, but still thousands of people. I mean, that must strike terror in your heart. And he said it was a real education. You know, we all talk about how you get these people who just want something free, but he was faced with this terrific backlash. So I think that balancing the free versus fee is something that we all wrestle with. And I think that we need to really think twice about doing too much for free.
Right, right. Although it's a great way to get people, like we do all of our podcasts for free. We always have something free to offer people if they come in, and that everything product is. This is what's for free. Our app is free. You can listen to podcasts for free right off of our app. You can track your weight loss right off our app. You can track what you eat. You know, you can do all this sort of things. We always have something free, but yeah, you're totally right. You have to balance that. And the other thing that I find is, you know, you want people to be successful in talking about, Winnie helped me, or, whoever helped them. You want to make sure that you've got success stories out there. And I have found time and time again that every time I have a program that I offer and some people pay for it, and I test out some people doing it for free. I mean, we just did this recently at the YMCA. We offered a program there. We lowered the price. Some people paid, and then there were a few that couldn't, so they didn't pay. Not that they couldn't, but we opted to not have them pay. Everybody lost weight except for the people who didn't pay. It was uncanny how everyone who paid actually saw success. Everyone who didn't take the time, they didn't value it, and they ended up either not losing weight or gaining weight.
Yeah, that is fascinating to me, and I think there's like a PhD in this topic somewhere for the person who really wants to dedicate. We talked about this on the episode as well, and I have been asked over the years, when I've announced a course, can't you give someone a free scholarship? Or I've been speaking at an event and they've asked me can't you give a free scholarship, a free call, a free X number of calls with someone? And every time I've done it, the person never calls. The gift certificate has never been used. The person never attends the multi-week program. I don't know what it is about that, but the old story, they just don't value what they get for free. I think for the large segment of the population, it's true.
Right.
I really do think it's true.
For sure.
Yeah, there's something about that. And then over the years, I've noticed that the people who I have charged, let's say I decide, all right, I'm going to give you a break on the price, and I lower the price significantly, they're the worst clients.
Right.
I don't know what that's about.
Right. It's just not valuing it, I guess. I don't. But yes.
I guess.
If you talk to, it's almost universal across the board, I think, for most people I talk to.
It is. Yeah. So somebody who wants to get a PhD.
This is your research study.
Figure that one out. Yeah, figure that one out and do the dissertation, and please share it. So let's take a look at some of the questions that we've got here. Judy says, yes, an investment is an incentive, I believe. You want to get the payoff once you have handed your credit card over. So typically you're going to be applying all the things you're learning. And if you're not, then you have deeper issues. Whether it's self-sabotage, and believe me, my picture is next to self-sabotage in the dictionary. So I certainly get it and understand it, but you've got to recognize it and then address that. So let's see. Be sure to ask your questions. Feel free to post them. And Judy just shared how to make sure you do that. At what point do you ask for the cash? And, that I think is an interesting question. You've got, so your free programs, they're actually not free because they're built into the cost of the surgery, right?
Right.
But they're like a bonus.
Right. What happens is the drive-through version, we have, if people are using their insurance, then it's a separate cost for the program, which includes just a boat. Okay. I mean, just tons of stuff. But if they're a self-paid patient, meaning that they don't have insurance coverage or they have too many requirements and they want to have surgery, because we have about a 30% self-paid clientele. So, and they're paying for that because they'll pay for experience. So we have that. They'll pay for exclusivity, and we have an exclusive program. And they'll pay for good outcomes, and our outcomes exceed national averages. So that's what people will pay for. So most bariatric surgeons have about a 1% self-pay clientele. So ours is about 30, 35% depending on the month. But the reason why is because of all these extra things. But they're willing to, and for those people, we included in the cost of the self-pay surgery, obviously. But that also provides for people to come from wherever to have surgery, and we've negotiated great pricing with the hospital and anesthesia and all that. But yeah, it's included in the price for those programs. Now, for the other programs, we ask. The problem is, as clinicians, we never want to ask for cash.
Right.
We're like, oh, let's just give it away and just help everybody. But the reality is, you can't stay in business very long that way, and you end up not really helping people who want to be helped because they don't have any skin in the game, like we were talking earlier. So I think being upfront about cost is really important. People want to know what they're paying for. They want to know what the cost is, and they want to know what it is you're paying for. So if you go to our website and you look anywhere on the website, we have all of our costs are out there. Some people are like, you shouldn't share that. What if your competition sees it? Oh my gosh, what? But it's like when people come in here, they already know. They know what they want to do most of the time. They know what the cost is going to be, and it takes that whole uncomfortable feeling away because they know.
Yeah.
So I see up front.
I agree. And I think, I did a lot of personal work around this very same issue. And I think you have to ask yourself, and I might be projecting here, but I do think you have to ask yourself, why is this so hard for me to say the price? Is it that you, in your heart of hearts, that you don't value yourself? Is it that you don't have enough self-respect to say my knowledge, skill, and abilities are worth it very much? So I really think if you're hesitant to ask for the money, that there's probably a deeper issue there. One thing, though, is did you beta test your program at all when you first launched it?
We, not for the surgical and non-surgical. We basically modified it as we went along, but we created it and we put it out there. Now, a lot of times people create their program as they go along. I'm typically not that sort of a person. I'm a little bit more OC about things. I want to make sure it's done, it's going to be good and that sort of thing. So we didn't, but we knew what we had was a quality program. And the thing that happened with us was we were doing so much education, saying the same thing over and over, and all this education that finally it was like, let's make it easier for us and for the patients by just turning it into a program. And then they get all the information at the same time. They get the similar message. They know what to expect. And so for us, it was sort of like the next step because we were doing the same thing over and over. And it just made our lives easier and also made it easier for the patient to access the information. So it was sort of a no-brainer. We knew we'd been using it in-house for so long that we knew it worked with people that we just turned it into a product. And then we started just reinforcing, doing some on site and some online. So we sort of eased into it that way. Now, on the flip side, for your bestseller book, we basically started with a 6-month mentoring membership, mentoring a mastermind essentially, which is we're in the middle of it right now. And for that, we had people just can pay. They can pay per month or they can pay. And we just kind of came up with a price and we present these. The goal is during the 6 months, they're going to get their books done and written. Like tonight, I'm teaching and we're doing our hot seats. Everyone has to present what they've done so far. So for that one, we picked a price and then people just pay as they go along. It's like 15, and we didn't make it outlandish because it was our first time having the mentoring mastermind, and so there's those factors play into it. So we just picked 1,500, then we allowed a couple payment plans and went with it, and it's worked out really well.
Okay, so that's certainly a thought, is to think about, is this your very first time doing it? Right, and then maybe coming up with a more conservative price to get those first few people to say yes, and of course then, you're going to, I'm going to guess you're going to go to a list of people who already know, like, trust, and value you. Mm-hmm. You're not walking up to strangers on the street and saying, hey, right? So it's almost like an internal launch. As I think the lingo that you would use is that you're talking right to your most attached audience members,
Right,
right?
right. And if you don't have a list, you don't have an audience, then you determine, we've done uh, podcasts on this before, but you determine who your avatar is, and then you find out where they live online, and you advertise to them, and you build it that way. And then you just start out. I think one of the things that helps with the pricing is if people will sit down and you figure out your whole escalation of what services you're going to offer. So if you look at your business and you figure out what's my entry level point, what's the next thing I can offer to them, and you always need to be thinking about what's the next thing. Because if we get into talking about the different types of, we use 3 different platforms for membership sites, but there's ways to have upsells in the membership site if you want to. So you always have to be thinking about what's the next step I want them to take. And for me, I've always afraid to introduce the next step because I never wanted to ask for them to go to the next step. But really, that's what people, what they need. So you kind of just figure out what's the lowest price point, what am I going to offer there, then what am I going to lead them to, and what's that going to lead to, and your price just escalates from there. And then that way you can start up small, get very comfortable with that, and then you just then you build your list, and then you gradually move them on up the ladder till they can get into the different types of things that you have to offer.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. So in mapping out this escalation process of what people need, and then they make the decision themselves how much they're willing to pay and how much they're willing to commit. So it may be that for some reason they're not able to pay for something at that level. Well, they're going to have to then do the work that they need to do to be able to access at that level. They should max out whatever you've provided at that fee level then that they're comfortable paying for, right?
Right. And then let's say you're a coach or a consultant. So I just did strategy with a client of mine, and he's a Christian business coach. And so for him, it's like we talked about what is it that you do. So he gains leads from speaking, does a lot of public speaking, wrote a book. We guide him all to his website. He gets them lead capture. His first thing is a free personal development call, and he does these, and it grabs people, and they get to know him, they get to see what he does, and then he moves them on up into individualized coaching or coaching for an entire business. So it's the same thing. You look here, and then you figure out where is it that I want to go. What's my ultimate goal, but how am I going to get there in a really comfortable way for you and for the people that you want to serve?
Right. Yeah, I think that's great information, because if the person wants the next level of help, right, you can only do so much in an hour free call or a 30-minute free call. I don't have a magic wand. I can do what I can do for you, but if you want to achieve even more, you're going to have to, whether you call it a ladder, a highway, or whatever, you're going to have to go down that path.
Right.
And that requires, I need to stay available for work, and that means I must charge money for that, and I must pay my own bills. So there's no shame in that. And that's what the electric company expects from you. They expect you to pay the bill and do so promptly. So
a lot of people I don't think about their, for lack of a better word, their sales funnel. Like I never do a book with somebody unless I do a funnel for them, and they'll go like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, well, this is the book, but where do you want it to take you? Well, I don't know. I just want to get the book done. But what's your ultimate goal? Well, I want to do coaching, or I want to do a podcast. I want whatever it is they want to do. Okay, so how are we going to get people there? What are you going to do? And then so you got to look through that. But people need to. I think it's hard to. And I didn't do that initially either. I just kind of did things. I needed an easier way to provide patient education. Well, let's do that. But then once you sit back and look at it, you're like, this really does all need to fit together into a bigger picture. And so strategizing that with someone is really helpful. And then you keep your mind on where is it, not only what am I doing right now, but where is this taking me,
Right. Yeah, that's well said. And I think that's a brilliant thing to do, to step down or to step through your own funnel and say, do I have things at each critical point? Am I building awareness? Am I getting found? I need to put out free content online so that I get found. Do I have something that is a free gift I call it, you're becoming acquaintances then. You're extending your hand in friendship. They're going to accept it and accept your free gift, and they're going to give you in exchange their email address. Now you have this basic relationship. What do they want to learn from you? And then to take it deeper, you're going to have to charge something. So Yeah, and then that just moves through. And I think that in our conversations in the other episodes, we were talking about how interrelated things are and how this funnel, everything sells to the next step. And I really think that's just a very elegant way of approaching this. It takes, I think your description of it in those two episodes just takes some of the pressure away. Do you want this outcome? It's right here in this program. This is what it costs. No apology. So I think that beta starting is awesome. So if you're starting to think about offering something like this, maybe do, a little 3-month program and do it. Tell people it's a beta test, put some kind of price on it, and just test it out and start seeing how this works. Somebody actually asked if you have a coaching program teaching people how to do membership programs. I want you to know that I've already told Carol she needs to write the book on this, because obviously she's got this figured out. And I think that this is something that a lot of people are probably interested in, especially on both sides. I want the ongoing revenue, but also I want to make a big impact with people.
Right. And it's a great, I don't know what we would do without our membership site. Really, because we use them for everything. And the great thing is the way membership sites, that there's so many different platforms now. Your membership site can be, for some of them, it can be your website. They can also build your lead capture pages. There's so much improvement in the technology. It's just amazing. And we use 3 platforms. We use Infusionsoft. I'm going to sound like a schizophrenic, and some days I feel schizophrenic, but we use Infusionsoft or Customer Hub, and then we also use Kajabi for another. But I have more than one business, so we'll run them under different ones, and then we also use ClickFunnels. So I'll funnel them, and because they each have different factors that are helpful to me for different reasons, I use them. So there's lots of. You only need one, and they're all great, easy to use, pretty easy to use systems, and you just need to pick one and then go with it if you're going to do a membership site. But certainly, I like to have, and I used to do all that techie all myself, except now I have some staff that help with it, and she's awesome. So I can kind of do the big picture and strategy and create content and that sort of thing. But they'll end up uploading it and doing all that sort of stuff. So that's really helpful.
Great. And I want to let you guys know that Carol created something that is so awesome. I'll tell you, my guests just go so all out for the resources that they provide. And right now, Carol is the queen. So she provided this fantastic handout. It must be, 4 or 5 pages?
About 4 pages.
Yeah, where she laid out these 3 tools that she uses, and then she evaluated them on all of these different criteria. It's fantastic. So you definitely want to make sure you go to the letstalktechshow.com and you want to get that resource, but you have to find Carol's episode. It is the letstalktechshow.com/membership program 1 and membership program 2 are her two episodes. Get there, get the handout, because I'm telling you, you're just like, it just saves you. It's everything you need to think about in order to make a decision between these programs. But like she said, she's using all 3 actually for her different offerings, and because they do different things, right? Or they specialize in different things.
We're not using Infusionsoft, and we use that for our medical program and our surgical program. But since we also have a separate consulting business called Weight Loss Practice Growth, since we train physicians how to use this program in their offices, we actually built an affiliate program in there. But then as things grow, some physicians want to white label it. So they want it with their branding, because in Infusionsoft, you can only have one set of branding unless you purchase a whole another, Infusionsoft is probably the most complex, but it's also extremely powerful. But it's also one of the more expensive, if you have all the bells and whistles. But we've used that for 2010, so we've used it forever, so we know we like it, and we use it for all that, and we do this affiliate program. But then when people wanted to start white labeling, it was like, well, I can't really white label in Infusionsoft unless I have them purchase it and do the whole thing. But then it's our content, and they're just using it, they're just referring people. So then I started looking into programs on where to put that, and ended up looking at ClickFunnels and Kajabi. And I actually ended up going with Kajabi for that purpose, because I can white label. You can actually have 3 corporations in there as one. So we end up using Kajabi for your bestseller book, for our mentoring membership, mentoring, or your bestseller book mentoring program, and then we also use that for white labeling. And then ClickFunnels is just turnkey for a lot of different things. I ended up building, just recently wrote a book. It was um, with a group of people called Build to Grow, and my section is on how to improve the health of your corporation by improving the health of your employees. So I built out a whole site in ClickFunnels there for something called healthycorpquiz.com. If you go there, and in the handout that I created, I actually gave you a sample that we've built in every single one that you can go into for free, and just go in and see what does it look like inside Infusionsoft. What does the membership site look like there? What's the membership site look like in Kajabi? And what's one look like in ClickFunnels? So I have a set of free ones so you can go in and just take a peek and see one in action, so to speak. So it'll be free for you to join just by going to the URL that's on there for the site. But that's all that you can see how things get to you, emails are sent out, and all that sort of thing. Again, it gives you some flavor. But each one has different things to offer, and each one's used sort of differently for the different corporations. So that's how we ended up with more than one. And I know people should probably focus on one, but sometimes then technology will change and maybe they lose a feature or something, and then you're kind of like glad you don't have all your eggs in one basket. But it's easier for me because I just have a number of businesses to kind of expand them to. I do the consulting, you do that in one, and then I do, so we kind of divide it out.
Yes, and that's a great point that Carol's making. Her business is at a specific level. She and her husband have this Center for Weight Loss Success. It's a physical building with people. It's thousands of square feet. It's a great business. Then she has this additional business herself of consulting, coaching, creating these books, and helping support entrepreneurs who are doing the same thing. And they're going to be moving into this stronger in helping other practices, other medical practices. So your business, I'm going to guess, is probably not there. So don't feel like I got to go get all these three things. That's not what she's saying. She's explaining how she uses them and why she uses them, and that great tool that she's provided at the letstalktechshow.com in the show notes for her 2 episodes helps you decide, okay, I'm going to set a goal. When I get to X point in my business, I'm going to then look at Kajabi, or I'm going to look at ClickFunnels. I'm going to look at taking something to a more sophisticated level. But right now, I'm going to use my email system and maybe an educational platform like Teachable or Gumroad or something like that. So know that this may be where you want to be, and then you're going to be able to create a path to get there. So, and hopefully with the book that Carol will someday write about how to create a membership program. This has been such incredible, great information, and this is the kind of information that we share on Let's Talk Tech. So if you like what you've heard, you definitely want to subscribe to the show. You can find it on iTunes at techshowpodcast.com, and you can also subscribe there, of course, rate, review, download the episodes to your device of choice. But you can also visit the letstalktechshow.com, which is the show's home on the web, and you can become a fan of the show. Join there and you will get all of the resources that the guests create for you. You don't have to opt in to get each one. You'll just be getting them as they get released. You'll also be notified when an episode goes live, and you can download it right there from the site. But you can check out either one, Tech Show Podcast or the letstalktechshow.com. We also have a Facebook group. So if you're the kind of person who is confused, frustrated, and overwhelmed, and it's a little bit scary to ask a question someplace where people, you think they know more than you, and you're just a newbie where something is concerned, you don't want to feel stupid. The Facebook group is the place to do that. It's full of nice people who are more than happy to share information, and you can find that at facebook.com/groups/Let's Talk Tech Show. So I don't think we've got any other questions here. Carol, it's been so great sharing so much time with you over the last couple of weeks, and I really appreciate the time that you dedicated to be on the show. So thank you very much. So be sure to get her giveaway on the letstalktechshow.com. Be sure to opt in and test out her little membership programs, and be sure to follow her. Also, I have links so you can connect with Carol in social media and all over the web. So thanks you so much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Judy and Gail, for helping administer today. And I will catch up with you guys in another episode of Let's Talk Tech and on Blab every Wednesday for the after show. Bye for now.
Bye, thanks.
Okay, I'm going to stop